I got absolutely fucking one-shotted by Civilization 7 this past weekend.
Please.
I played 23 hours in 2 days.
That's no,
23 hours.
Ralph.
That's a good sign.
You have
That's
a
a good
family.
first
You know,
impression.
like, I was honestly like... I was like Theoden on the battlefield after it was all over. My body is broken.
Oh my
I was
God.
done. I feel I needed to sleep
Shrimp
early
posture.
to recover from it. It was so bad.
Oh my God.
But I did play 23 hours of Civ in the weekend. It was fucking crazy. So Civ is still Civ, man. Civ does that to you. By the way, if anyone hasn't played a Civ game before, like that's exactly what they do.
They do.
They are just
Oh my God.
they're just straight crack. They just hook straight into the endorphin part of your brain and just like pump until there's nothing left. It's crazy what it does. But yeah, that magic still holds all these years later. It really did. Just that one more turn. Oh fuck, it's 3 a.m. For anyone who's totally unfamiliar with the series, it's a strategy game where you sort of usher humanity from the dawn of civilization, or I don't know, let's say 5,000 years BC, that kind of vibe, right? And then you go all the way through the modern age where you're like firing nukes at each other and all that sort of stuff. And it's a 4X game, tile-based, turn-based, very big focus on different difficulties, big focus on different civilizations that have different traits, different leaders that have their own traits as well. The main difference here with Civ 7, there's a few things. So first of all, leaders are decoupled from civilizations. So you can actually have like Julius Caesar leading the Mongols or whatever, right? You can do that. Okay. So that's one. And Julius Caesar has a bunch of attributes that, like militaristic, for example, that gives him a combat bonus and whatever. Whereas if you
Undefended
were to,
back.
Say again?
Undefended back.
Undefended back, that's right.
Excellent.
So, and actually, Julius Caesar's not even in the game, actually. It was Augustus I'm talking about. Never mind, sorry. So that's that. And then the other major change is that you go through 3 ages in this game. You go from the antiquity, exploration age, which is about like getting onto the open seas and like, crossing to new continents. And then there's the modern age where it like, obviously the technology kicks in and tanks and all that sort of shit, right? The big thing that happens when you're playing through is that you actually switch civilizations when you move from age to age. So you might start as Roman, and then you get into the like exploration age, and you have to change civilizations. You have to say, okay, now I'm going to be Norman, like whatever, English or whatever. So all that sort of shit. And then if you get to the modern age, then you have to flip again and you say, well, actually now I'm going to be the, American, American civilization. So that's weird.
That is weird.
That's a weird thing.
I was like, I'm glad they're trying something different, but I'm going in very like, I hope that's cool.
But do you get to, you get to pick?
Well, yeah, the way it works is that if you make certain decisions as you're playing in the one age, it will unlock certain age choices for you in the future. So if you are very on water in the exploration age, that's going to say, okay, you are obviously very into naval power. You have a lot of ships or whatever. So that might let you select to be the English Empire in the modern age example.
Okay.
But if you didn't build any ships, then the English Empire might not be an option for you in that modern age. And instead, if you'd built lots of continental troops, you might be the, I don't know, Russians or what have you, that as an example. Again, I'm just pulling examples. I don't even know that the English Empire is in the game because there's just so many of them as well.
Yeah.
Like the campaign I played was Rome into Normans, into Americans. Yes, that's why I used that example before, right? So, yeah, here's what it's... The goal of all of this is to just remix things more and give it an almost roguelike quality, because you go in with Caesar and you combine it with who has attributes, and you combine it with one civilization that has their own attributes. And then you remix that as you go, because Caesar levels up with his own sort of skill tree and he continues to bring his traits to the table. But then you have to choose a different civilization that has different characteristics. So it remixes the gameplay after that, 5-7 hour mark, and it's trying to keep it fresh. And similarly, it'll do the same thing again when you reach that final age. So there's also some kind of like meta progression that kicks in. So if I do use Augustus and I finish a campaign with him, I'll kind of unlock some stuff that will give me some benefits or some more traits the next time I play as him.
The next full playthrough.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
The next new game that you start. Because this is all a game. This is not like don't imagine this as being some kind of campaign experience that you play through for 50 hours and you finish Civilization. It's not like that. It's always like you just play. It's like a board game. You play one game and then you start again, right? So I like it from a gameplay design perspective because it does result in some diversity and you can see things getting pretty wild. But at the same time, I was like, feels kind of goofy. I think Civilization has never tried to be like authentic in terms of the way it's worked. It's always tried to remix history and give you this sandbox to make impossible things happen and combining them in different ways. And I totally get that. That's fine. Again, I kind of like that from a game design perspective. But I would like to be able to level up and stay with the Romans all the way through and see how that evolves and see that evolution of that civilization rather than be forced to hard switch. So if there could have been some way for me to do that and also have the option to switch, cool. But you are forced to switch. There was no way for me to stay Rome as I moved into that second age. And that also kind of makes sense because there was no Roman Empire in that exploration age. It was done. And so like that's true to history in a sense. But at the same time, I don't know. Thematically, it feels like a very playful game that's focused more on, as I said, a playful, inventive, roguelike sandbox than something that is trying to deliver an authentic rendition of history, which again, that was never the intention of Civ. It's always been about that, that remixing. So bottom line though, I spent 23 hours playing this over a weekend, over 2 days, dude. Like that's it. I could absolutely see myself doing that 10 more times had I the time to do it. Like absolutely.
But after all that time, do you feel like you're going to find yourself going, oh well, now I just want to play Civ 5 or Civ 6 for that full seeing an entire dynasty through?
It's a different thing. The truth is, Civilization is dangerous.
Yeah.
And I don't want to play more of it because I can't trust myself with it. You know what I mean? Like, that's the truth. And you can't and there are, by the way, smaller map sizes. And you can also jump in at like a certain age. So you can say, I'm going to start a new game, but start at the modern age if you wanted to really truncate it down.
So there's
and
a lot
have
of
shorter
freedom.
game session.
Yeah.
Totally. Okay. Difficulties, game length, map size, you can totally tweak it. And that's before we get into the modding scene, which really mixes things up further. I think there's this weird thing that happens when I play Civilization where I'm incredibly conscious of the fact that I'm achieving nothing. You know what I mean? Like I can't, and I play Diablo and Destiny, right? So those are also the epitome of achieving absolutely nothing, but it's a different thing when I'm playing a Civ game. I feel that in a more elevated sense, and I can't explain why, but I always have felt that. So I love when I'm playing it. I wish that I wasn't thinking these things while I was playing it, but I am often thinking about the fact that I'm like, well, I shouldn't be doing this right now. I should be doing something else. Do you know what I mean? I don't know. I can't really describe that. I've always felt that way about Civ games more than most other games that I've played.
Pacing wise,
more than any other game I played, in fact.
Pacing wise, like with the 3 ages, does it feel like, do the ages get long in the tooth? Do you feel like you're like, all right, I've been here for a while, and I only have 2 more in front of me?
I can't talk about the final age yet because that's embargoed until afterwards. Okay. But I won't be coy, and I'll just say that like I wouldn't say so. I would say that like there are ways. It felt like a good length of time for the first 2 ages. I won't talk about the third one because I'm not allowed to. But again, I'm not trying to hide anything. There's nothing really much to say. It's similar to the first 2 ages in terms of pacing and what have you. I think that I took my time with them. There were lots of ways that I could have sped things up had I understood the game more deeply. But I really did take my time with them. I would say that, there are lots of ways to speed this up if you want to, for sure.
This is a tough one to review because it's like, you got to spend a lot of time with it to really
You got to play through 7, 8, 9 campaigns, different difficulties, different civilizations, different modifiers, different choices.
Yeah, because I'm curious to see how, especially like not seeing one group like, the Romans through to the end. Yes. I'm curious to see how your decisions in one age affect the next age? Like how
Profoundly.
how you really
Profoundly.
feel that. And I feel like
Absolutely.
that's going to take a couple of playthroughs to really see.
Well, yes and no, in the sense that I can absolutely see it in terms of my character progression as Caesar. Like he has a whole tree that levels up.
Okay.
There are also these kind of legacy arcs that you sort of fill out as you play. And the more things you accomplish in each age, the more permanent upgrades you take into the next age. Then there is actually the choice of, Augustus and which civilization you choose and their innate traits and what they bring to the table. So there are actually quite a few things that carry over from age to age. And again, that really does add a lot of depth to that roguelite-y kind of aspect here, where you're able to build a build, in a way, like with this civilization, in a way that I don't think I've been able to quite do before with in this way. Well, I think you have, but I think the fact that you're forced to do a hard switch to a different civilization really reframes what these things are. They feel more like video gamey power-ups than they do kind of like immersive evolutions of a civilization. And I think that's one byproduct of their decision to go down this route. I do imagine it's going to be controversial and that some people are going to think this sucks. Other people are going to be like, I like it, it's fun.
There's always something.
But at the same time, for sure. But at the same time, the modding scene will just fix it for you. And if you want to have some really thorough, like some really like contiguous evolution for your civilization, the modders will figure it out and they'll do that for you. But that'll take some time, obviously. But I will say at the top, just to finish, I've really loved my time with it. I'm not a strategy buff by any means. I don't have a good framework to be able to assess these games critically, but I loved playing it. And I wish that I had more time to play it and I also wish I wasn't feeling so guilty when I did that. I would say that. Yeah.
Is this one coming to iPad or something eventually? I guess you could play with Xbox Play Anywhere. Stream.
Yeah, I know it's playable on Steam Deck.
Ooh.
I haven't played it on Steam Deck yet, but it is playable on Steam Deck.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
That's dangerous.
I played it. Yeah, I played it on a high-end PC and it ran flawlessly. Absolutely flawlessly. In fact, the build I played had a few minor bugs in it, but it felt very polished overall. So yeah, I mean, it's Civ, man. Like it's. I think
Civ's back, baby.
You kind of know what you're getting with the Civ game. It's very dangerous, as I've said. And the remixing of the formula is going to appeal to you or it's not. But even if you don't like it, I think there's still going to be lots of interest. There's hundreds of hours of enjoyment to be had, even if you don't like some of the remixing, because the core of it is still unchanged. It's still as addictive and dangerous as it's always been, So
just changing things up where the core thing, like, it's like absolute Batman. Oh, it's Batman, but now he's really big.
Sure.
You like it or you don't.
It's Batman, Bruce Wayne crossed with Reacher.
Yeah. I'm so excited for this. I how dare them for releasing this in between Kingdom Come, Deliverance 2 and Monster Hunter Wilds and something else I'm probably forgetting.
Yeah.
Like
Avowed.
Oh yeah, jeez.
Yeah.
So many games.
So, and Yakuza, Pirate Yakuza.
God, so many big games.
And there was gonna be Shadows until it got delayed.
Yeah.
So it would February
Just
was
a
gonna
bunch
be
of massive
absolutely out of
games.
control.
Something for everybody.